Seeing as I'm not a big fan of that one holiday that takes place in December, it might come as a bit of a surprise that one of my favorite seasonal movies is The Nightmare Before Christmas. Of course, we all know and love the Pumpkin King Jack Skellington, his faithful pet Zero, and that one zombie girl Sally. And who can forget the main man lurking in the shadows, Oogie Boogie. But clearly this video has more of a purpose than just giving an audio review of a Tim Burton-esque film. Today I'm here to talk about Sally and her reputation as a Halloween icon. And most importantly, why that should not be the case. I'd assume that most of you are reaching for your jack-o'-lanterns and pitchforks right now, and you'll probably still feel that same way at the end of the video. But in the spirit of good scares, just hear me out. To make this argument happen, we're going to have to do what we here at Cellar Dwellers love almost more than anything else, character exploration. Specifically, I'm going to be discussing two characters and their relationships with each other and their surroundings. Of course, those characters are Sally and Jack. Before we begin, some of these discussion points may be a bit tongue-in-cheek, but I want you to know, I firmly believe this. I do not like Sally as a character, and specifically the place she holds among Halloween greats. So let's talk about Jack. He's the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town. Clearly everyone looks up to him and reveres him, including Sally. But with her, it's a little different. She's a regular citizen of Halloween Town, but really she's the only one that stands outside of his window and stalks him while he's working on his Christmas surprise. And I don't mean like when Jack goes to Christmas Town and looks in to see what they're doing. He's doing it out of a curiosity and respect for their traditions in an attempt to bring them back to his own people in Halloween Town. Sally, on the other hand, sits there, hides, and stares. Not to mention, she tries to buy his love with physical objects. Let's even take one step further back and look at another citizen of Halloween Town, Dr. Finkelstein. This is a citizen who's very highly regarded in the Halloween Town community as basically their town's Dr. Frankenstein. When Jack returns from Christmas Town, he goes to Dr. Finkelstein in good faith to create reindeer to pull Jack's sleigh. Clearly, Jack understands that Dr. Finkelstein is the only one that can take this project. And in doing so, Jack, the Pumpkin King, King of Halloween Town, shows an immeasurable amount of respect for Dr. Finkelstein's intellect. Sally, on the other hand, how does she show respect to Dr. Finkelstein, her creator? She doesn't. In an attempt to escape the responsibility of taking care of her physically disabled father, she drugs him multiple times so that she can leave and again, go stalk Jack through his window. And in addition to Dr. Finkelstein, let's look at one other citizen of Halloween Town, Oogie Boogie. I know he's not everyone's favorite, maybe with the exception of Lock, Shock, and Barrel, but everybody tends to stay away from Oogie Boogie. It's only when he gets his hands on Santa Claus that Jack decides that something needs to be done about the town's black sheep. Now, I do have to give Sally a little bit of credit here. She does try and go save Santa Claus by herself. However, she really only distracts Oogie Boogie with her detached leg for a moment before getting captured herself, and thus not saving Santa Claus. In the meantime, Jack has been flying around in his own sleigh with his own reindeer delivering his own version of gifts. And while that may have failed, Jack decides to return to Halloween Town and single-handedly defeats Oogie Boogie and not only saves Santa Claus, Christmas, but also Sally. So once again, Jack is the hero and Sally's riding on his coattails. Then why is her status as a Halloween icon right up there with Jack? Let me lay it out for you. Many people believe that Sally is a sweetheart for trying to protect Jack from what she thinks will be a disastrous Christmas. And yes, while Jack does get shot out of the sky, everything works out in the end, Christmas is saved, no problem. So what's the problem? She made a little mistake, had a vision that sorta turned out true, sorta didn't. The bigger issue here is that she is trying to prevent Jack from following his dream. At this point in his life, Jack wants nothing more than to bring joy to other people through the wonders of Christmas. Sally, for the entirety of the plot, is telling Jack not to go through with this plan, not because of some hatred for Christmas or Jack, but because Sally is being the Sharpay of Halloween Town and wanting Jack to stick to the status quo. Sally is selfish and wants Jack all to herself, and she knows full well that if Jack commits to this idea of Christmas every year, he will not have enough time to dedicate to both Sally and Christmas. And in the same sense, she's trying to pull him away from the citizens of Halloween Town. Everything Jack does, including trying to bring Christmas to the real world and Halloween Town, is solely with the best interest of his people in mind. And on a somewhat related note, Sally only sings one song in this movie, while Jack Skellington puts the entire soundtrack on his back and carries it across the finish line. So I suppose the question then becomes, what makes people gravitate towards Sally in the first place? I mean, why can't other viewers see it in the same way? I would argue it's because the film doesn't want you to. Think about it. Besides Sally, there's no other significant female character in the film. Thus, the viewer is forced to see Sally as a strong female lead. And in my opinion, this positioning of the character skews the audience's thoughts of said character. Obviously, everybody loves Jack, so to see him happy at the movie with Sally creates a suggestive and somewhat biased tone. Most people would fall for it, but not me. And I'm not saying she's a maniacal masked villain like other Halloween icons. Simply that maybe we as an audience shouldn't jump to straight conclusions just because we're forced to. I'm pretty sure I already know the answer, but let me know what you think of Sally in The Nightmare Before Christmas. And don't forget, stay scary.